Thank you for listening to the Luminous Mind audioblog, The Spark, Season 2, Episode 1. Hello, fire starters. Thanks for joining me on the second season of The Spark. It's hard to believe that we are moving into our second year at the Luminous Mind. So, I know it's been a while since I've done an audio blog post on our Spark. As the regular listener knows, during most of September, my family and I took a 3-week world schooling trip to Italy. Hopefully, you followed our experience on Facebook as I did daily posts of our adventure. After 3 years of anticipating this family world school art history tour, that's what we called it, and a year of planning, thanks to my wonderful husband, Mark, as expected, this trip was absolutely amazing. It was a very defining time for our children, especially our oldest boys who had experiences that have forever changed them. So we worked really hard to try to blend in as Italians the best that Americans from Idaho can. We rented apartments, we shopped for groceries, we rode buses, subways, and trains, which, by the way, are non-existent in our pocket of Idaho, so just that experience alone was quite a life changer for our kids. So it was a great time of growing for our family. It was a great time of growing our family closer together through this really unique experience. However, upon returning, I had some serious struggles and went through some very difficult experiences, which maybe at a later date I'll share more about. But the last few months I've been working on just to understand myself better, to rebuild my world, and to make a serious adjustments to my schedule and trying to figure out who I really am. The podcasts that have played, which ironically were all scheduled before we even left for Italy, have truly been a godsend and a tender mercy for my life as I worked to learn and understand how to deal with those struggles. They were kind of off the topic of education, but they were definitely a help for me. The best thing to come out of all of the negativity has been the immense and increased improvement in communication on an already strong relationship with my husband. And we worked together to reevaluate our priorities, to weed out the unimportant, and paring things down. We decided that the podcast was very important for me. It helps me in a lot of ways, but have cut down the release times just to help me out with paring those things back. Also, the audio blogs have kind of gone by the wayside along with other things that I was planning to add in as services offered here at the Luminous Mind, just because we're just doing the bare minimum. It has seriously been a time of just being thankful for life and for my family and enjoying the moment. And also, I have received kind of a divine clarity with my mission for my own life. And part of that is this podcast. I want more than ever to help and to serve our listeners regain the focus that I had when I started this. I really want to help, especially other mothers who maybe struggle, who feel friendless and need a community of understanding to help provide information to keep us healthy, to be able to give to those that we really love, because that's kind of what we love to do, especially as women. I had planned to do my next audio blog about achieving balance before we even left for Italy, achieving balance in our lives. But now it has even greater purpose to me, and I wanted to share with you what I've learned. So let's dive right in.
Benjamin Franklin once said, "Do not curse the darkness, rather light a candle instead." If you're ready to set your mind on fire, then prepare yourself for the Luminous Mind with your host, Rebecca Bohman.
This post will go out well after we have set those pesky New Year's resolutions that are many times forgotten about the middle of February, which is when I hope this audio blog will be posted. So happy also that February is the first anniversary of the Luminous Mind podcast. So to go move into this topic of being balanced, I'd like to think that I am balanced, as a 40-something-year-old wife, mother, teacher, podcaster, that I have learned enough in my life to achieve that balance. But to be honest, I tend to get kind of wild ideas and I dive right in head first with all the energy that I can muster. And frankly, through this reflective time that I've had through the fall and the winter of my life, I've come to believe that this tendency was previously a source of self-medication for me. It is helping me avoid topics that I truly just needed to work on. I've heard people say that you can never truly be fully balanced, or you really can't have it all. And in a way, that's really true. Everything has a time and a season as you grow with your family or in your job or your life's mission. However, through this reflective time that I've had, there are some ways I have found to kind of balance my life or to feel like it's a little more balanced. First of all, I have learned how important daily priorities are to a person's soul. And I'm going to call them dailies. Those dailies are different for each person, but need to be discovered to bring real comfort to the soul to feel balanced. I think it is vital to be balanced in those areas and find ways to make those dailies happen for you. For example, I have discovered some of my dailies are, of course, exercise, which I've talked about before, reflective time with scripture reading or prayer, meditation, journaling, listening to my story, or writing out affirmations or things that I feel like God's telling me to do, and then also writing out a daily schedule. Many times when life is unbalanced, those dailies, those things that bring our soul personal comfort, they end up going by the wayside somehow. We just throw them out just to get those things done. We become a person that's doing and not a person that's really living. Dailies give us perspective and they ground us and to continue moving every day in the direction of in our life's mission or our legacy. I talk a lot about that. It's really important to me. We can figure out our dailies by thinking about the things that if you could only do those things, that they would make us feel more accomplished or full. And when you've done those things, you feel better, you feel happy, whatever it is. With my dailies, I have posted them in a prominent place. I made a list of what they are, posted in a prominent place that I can see continually, and I get those things done before anything else, regardless of how busy I feel or whatever. Those dailies get done first. Somehow accomplishing those dailies help me prioritize my life better. Even though I have less time to work on the podcast or some of those other things that I want to do, when I do those dailies, my life is prioritized better. Maybe because daily I'm able to recall my life's mission and to help me focus on the things I want to create and not just the things that I need to do. I don't want to be a person that's just doing. I want to be a person that's really living. So in addition to working on implementing solid dailies into my life, I've also been working on something called essentialism. And the idea of essentialism comes from the book, which is titled Essentialism. The subtitle is The Disciplined Pursuit of Less, and it's by Greg McKeown. It is the idea that, of course, you just do the essential things in your life, and for each person, that's also very different. This really takes some thought and really weighing each task or decision or direction across some sort of personal core values that we have for ourselves. I really think that to be successful at essentialism, it is helpful to have some sort of mission statement. And interestingly enough, over 16 years ago, I wrote down some of my core values or things that I really valued into a really small mission statement. It's really short and there's only 4 key points. And to be honest, it's kind of it's ended up collecting clutter. It gets behind other things. I don't look at it very often. And through this reflective time, I've pulled it out and I've really looked at that and tried to use that as a method of paring things back. So however short that your mission statement may be, it's helpful in helping us regain our focus on those essential items. So I plan to share what my mission statement is and kind of how this essentialism works with that in our mastermind hangout group later in the month, which I'll give you more information on later. This idea of essentialism, when it's done right, it can bring about so much life satisfaction. And that's kind of where I started in the fall, very confused. And now all of a sudden, I'm really finding joy in my life. And it's through this essentialism. So many times in our life, we just say yes to too many things. And I know this happens. I know I'm not the only person to do this because I just actually had a conversation just yesterday about it. But we say yes to too many things that really don't align with our core values or in the direction that we want our life to move. So I have a real problem saying no when I'm asked. And some of it comes from my upbringing. Some of it comes from my religious beliefs. But for me, I think the majority of this problem comes from this idea, or what I thought, of wanting to help others and a desire to serve. Recently, I went back and really listened to Asaki, I can't say his last name, Vadukandu. Anyway, Asaki, and it's entitled Insights from a Tender Warrior, which is episode 113 on our podcast. And it was a podcast that was helpful in a lot of ways during this discovery time for me. In this episode, he stated in this podcast that the desire to serve can sometimes become a real selfish thing. To help others, sometimes that we think when we're helping others, that the desire to serve can become a selfish thing, to help others think better of us. You know, we crave sometimes those attaboys, and sometimes it comes at the expense of our loved ones or our home. Many times we'll have a full plate of too many things, and we end up serving poorly because we haven't filled our own cup and we're empty. We're unable to properly fill the cup of others because we haven't done our own filling. Don't get me wrong. Service can be something that can fill us up. But if we haven't taken care of our dailies or worked on our core values of taking care of our own household, ultimately service can actually end up depleting us as well. With essentialism, it isn't all about saying no, but sometimes it's about saying yes to the right things, things that fit with the core belief or with your life mission that you have. So I'll give you an example. As my husband and I were reviewing the essentials in our life, trying to figure out where to pare back, I realized that our educational goals and focus on our children's schooling didn't align with our mission. And so after our trip, of course, we belong to an online school, and as far as they were concerned, our children were behind, even though they'd had this amazing cultural, life-changing experience. Even though each time we've tested them, they are testing well above those state standards. But with their attendance and progress being behind, the state considers them behind. I knew that this would be the case, and I fully expected that we'd just hit the books and catch right up, and then my life just came crashing down. So with my struggle of perfectionism, and really the last thing that I needed to heal and to regain that strength was a daily reminder that the state thought that my kids were behind. We decided to pull our kids out of the online school and independently homeschool them, which in Idaho, luckily, is a very easy process. This was a difficult decision for me because we receive a lot of attaboys from our online school, and we serve for that school as kind of the poster family. However, as an independent homeschooling family, we have focused on the essentials of just reading, writing, and calculating. We've talked about how just gaining facts and figures or whatever is important, but learning to articulate that knowledge and changing the focus of our learning to kind of working on those things. So renewing that focus of learning as a family has been a strength to me and to them. A few days ago, I was listening to them talk, and they were telling each other how they really just enjoyed their school time so much more. They were finding themselves studying things like math, which was a subject that they didn't enjoy, reading more with more joy and willingness. For me, essentialism has made me enjoy living my life. It has made me more focused and energized because I feel I'm making traction towards my life's mission. Essentialism has given me purpose to live an amazing life full of gratitude and joy. Essentialism is more about me pleasing God and being who I'm really meant to be over just pleasing those people around me. It is scheduling time to be creative, inventive, and to feel inspired. Essentialism is actually a form of simplification. And to borrow a quote from Leonardo da Vinci, simplification is the ultimate form of sophistication. So practice essentialism. It's so awesome. Another thing that I've been doing better at is scheduling, which is basically pre-planning my life. I plan and schedule the week. And then every day, I plan every day out. So now that the children, and this may seem like it's not part of essentialism, but it really has been. So now with children, it's not easy to plan because we all know, all of us with kids know that the unexpected just happens. However, planning things out have helped me to more fully embrace the unexpected. It has helped me to be more realistic about my expectations that I have for myself too. It gives me the chance to visually see how that day will look and let me focus on the important. A way that I schedule is I block time, and too many of my projects that I want to do with my family or with this podcast or, personally or with my own personal study take way more time than I really have time for. But designating time blocks, once again, have helped me feel like I'm moving forward. And this is another topic that I'd love to go into more detail in our mastermind group later in the month. Anyway, to sum up my thoughts on this spark of balancing your life, for me, it comes down to finding and then doing my dailies with consistency so that my own cup is full so that I can properly help others. And then living your life with scheduled essentialism so that you can fully enjoy your life. Balancing your life for a busy person is important, but with the thought that I can do anything, just not everything. And we need to find out what that anything is. I can do anything. There's a scripture, I can do anything with God. And anyway, it's awesome. So part of living my mission more fully and getting back to the why behind the creation of the Luminous Mind podcast is really to help other people, especially moms. When I first started this podcast, I had a vision of creating this large worldwide community that mirrored my own supportive community that I have here. A community where you could come and you could ask questions, you could get answers, you could advise each other. And I've always valued the ordinary person's experience and advice to a greater degree, sometimes than even an expert. Even though it seems it's easier to schedule the expert and it's enjoyable to listen to, but many of us doubt the answers that come to our problems or our own ability that we have to help other people. So as I was thinking of the direction to move my work, the answer to pare back my podcast release was really clear. I have heard from others that they've had a difficult time anyway trying to stay up on the latest releases. And so what I plan to focus 2016 in the direction of building that community that I envisioned. So with that in mind, we will release one spark a month, which will be on the second Saturday. I'm going to follow that spark up with a free live mastermind group on the fourth Saturday at 10 a.m. U.S. Mountain Standard Time. Okay. And this will be done through Google Hangout. If you go and like our Google Plus page, you will automatically get sent an invite each month. So whenever I get it scheduled, it will just come up. It'll just pop up. A mastermind, it basically comes from Napoleon Hill. And when I think of a mastermind, this is exactly what I was thinking of doing. So in his book, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about something called a mastermind alliance. And he goes into describing a mastermind group as a friendly alliance with one or more persons who will encourage one another to follow through with both plans and purpose. And I love what he says in his book, Master Key to Riches. He says, every mind needs friendly contact with another mind for food with expansion and growth. To heal, mastermind groups are established by creating an environment that nurtures and supports growth. And so that's what I really want to do with my time that I have, is to create those mastermind groups. So we're going to create a mastermind group. In a mastermind group, a message is facilitated by a host, but participants are expected to come with their own insight, questions around the topic that we're going to have for each month, which this month is balancing your life. Hopefully will be a great resource to others, and you can come and you can just listen to this free mastermind. I'm sure everyone has different experiences, so it'd be awesome if you could come prepared to use the book Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Others by Greg McKeown as a resource is what I'm going to do to facilitate this. I hope to grow this community to an amazing worldwide interactive bunch. You know, in Proverbs 11:14, it says, where no counsel is, the people fell, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. And that's what I hope you find in our mastermind groups. So in addition to the free mastermind group, I plan to form a smaller, more intimate group of maybe 10 to 12 people, which is going to be called the Luminous Mastermind. And it's going to be offered to only qualified, committed, motivated fire starters who really want more illumination in their life. We're going to seek individuals who desire to toil, to really work towards creating a powerful paradigm shift in their own life and to strive to create an inspiring, goal-oriented, balanced life that can help them live their life with more to their authentic life's mission. So I'm going to facilitate it using powerful group techniques that will inspire all committed members to live their daily legacy. I'm projecting to have the application out for this mastermind group April 2016. So you're going to want to keep an eye on our services tab when the application is available. Well, to wrap this up, please remember that we grow through subscribers, downloads, and reviews in iTunes and also on YouTube. It helps us book guests, which this month I had somebody like, well, wait till your community is bigger and then I'll schedule with you, which was like, what? Well, whatever. So we want this audience to be bigger so that we can get more insight to things that are available. So also please share this with your friends and family and encourage them to listen and to join our community. Also, please note that our giveaways are going to continue. This is our anniversary month, and so we have all these great giveaways that contributors have given to me to give away to you, and there's some awesome prizes. So qualifying requirement is that you email me so I don't miss anyone who's subscribed or left a review, who's given us this 5-star rating, who's shared our content with their friends on social media. I can't see all those things, so please email me at contact@theluminousmind.net. Thank you for listening to The Luminous Mind. To learn more about our audio blog, The Spark, go to theluminousmind.net. Be sure to become a subscriber to our free email list and get our new monthly newsletter. And then check out our services tab to see how we can continue to assist you, our fire starters. Also, to help us continue to produce inspiring content, go to the sponsor tab at theluminousmind.net for more information on sponsorship and affiliate programs. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Google+, and now Pinterest. Get our free audio content by subscribing on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. To help us grow, consider these easy ways. Tell your friends about us, leave us a review, share our content. Tell us how we can help you so together we can continue to light minds on fire and change the paradigm of education.